Okay, what I want to do today is show you how I do my Amazon accounting. It's actually quite simple. I don't import every single transaction from Amazon. I keep a very high-level view in my QuickBooks. All I really want to capture are the amount of sales coming in and then the various settlement buckets. All right, now what do I mean by this? First of all, the overall goal of how I do this is so that I can be a CEO of my company. So what does that mean? That means when I roll out of bed in the morning, I want to be able to pull up my balance sheet and my profit and loss statement, read them like a newspaper, and know the health of my company. All right? And when I look at my financials, I'm looking at a few things. I'm looking at my cash on hand. I'm looking at how much Amazon owes me on a day-to-day basis. Every single day, I should know how much they owe me. I want to look at my asset value to see what's happening with the value of my assets at inventory at FBA, inventory in my warehouse. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it within a range I'm used to seeing? Has it really skyrocketed for no reason? I mean, if my inventory value has gone up and my net profit has not, then something's happening, and I'm going to want to touch base with my operations manager and make sure that they know. If they know, then they know, and I'm fine. If they don't know, then there's a potential problem. As a CEO, that's my job, is to try to catch these potential problems and hold people accountable for them. One of the first things I want to point out is that Amazon is sitting over here as a bank account, okay? So I create a bank account in my QuickBooks called Amazon, even though there's really no such thing. I treat it as a bank account because it's money sitting in an account that's really mine, that's cash, that's going to come to me when they make the disbursement. And I look at that as just a simple transfer, and we'll go over how all of that works. But if you think of Amazon as a bank account, and that what they owe you from day to day goes up or goes down, let's hope it goes up every day until disbursement, then I think you get the overall concept of how I do my accounting with Amazon. They owe me a net amount. It goes up every single day until the disbursement day, at which point I do what's called a settlement accounting to account for the gross sales, all of the adjustments to that gross sales number, including Amazon fees and other things, refunds, and I come up with a net number. So then everything is tracked correctly at that settlement level. And then the transfer is made from the Amazon bucket to my general checking account bucket when Amazon actually makes that transfer, which of course happens every 14 days. All right. So there's really only two things you need to do or tell your bookkeeper to do with respect to your Amazon accounting. The first thing you want to do is give them access to your Seller Central account. Once you've given them access to your Seller Central account as an additional user and have set the permissions just to allow them to see what they need to see to do this accounting, they're going to come in and be able to look at your statements, right? So here's a completed one, and as it shows you the breakdown, starting at the top with the unavailable balance all the way through the amount of sales you made, and then the various deductions for the fees, the increases for shipping income, refunded Amazon fees, so on and so forth. And this is all the accounting you need to do. I've already done this particular settlement. The bookkeeper did anyway. But we can go back and look at it and show you what it looks like when it's completed. Okay, here's a completed settlement deposit that I've done in QuickBooks. So basically, you just go into your QuickBooks on settlement date and do a deposit. The deposit is going to have every single bucket that was on the settlement report in Seller Central. So if those buckets aren't set up, you're doing this the first time, you have the ability to set them up on the fly here. And so all this should look real familiar to you. These are the same numbers that were in the settlement accounting. When you're done, this deposit should should bring your Amazon balance, I should say, up to exactly what they owe you to this day. Then you'll simply do a transfer from the Amazon QuickBooks account to your general checking account to move the money. And then the only balance left in the Amazon bucket should be what they owe you from after the disbursement. Now, what I do every single day is make a bank deposit. Simply go into QuickBooks, make a new bank deposit, make sure you have your Amazon bank account selected, that the date's correct, and the account I'm always depositing into is sales. So how much am I depositing? Well, I go up to my Seller Central and I find out how much they owe me for that particular day. And it's down here. The balance tells you how much they owe you. So if you're doing it for the first time since the settlement, you're going to add whatever that number is. If you're doing it the next day, you're going to take the new number and subtract the previous balance in the Amazon account in QuickBooks, and you're going to come up with the difference from the day before to today. And then that's your deposit amount. And you do that every single day. If you don't want to do it every single day, do it 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever. It's whenever you do it, though, it's always the difference. And you should always do it on settlement day to get all of the buckets correct, to make sure the sales amount that you're depositing that day brings takes into account the previous day's deposits, and it nets out to a deposit that, when added on to the previous Amazon balance, equals your settlement disbursement. This way you always know what Amazon owes you, and you always know how much you paid in Amazon fees and all of the other buckets. But the real important thing that what this does for you is it allows you to correctly report your top-end revenue sales on your profit and loss. Should you ever get audited, what you don't want to have is less income shown, or less sales than what you're showing as deposits into your bank account. Doing it my way, it's actually just the opposite. You're showing more sales coming in and all the proper deductions to net it out to what auditors would find when doing your checking account deposits. And that's what they like to see, right? Otherwise you're understating your income. Now it might be the correct net income, but the bottom line is you're going to have some explaining to do to an auditor, because they're going to look and find out you actually had more sales than you reported. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, well, that wraps up this bonus video on how I do my Amazon accounting. The big key takeaways should be: I keep it simple. I treat Amazon as a bank account. I'm able to log in every single day and know exactly what Amazon owes me from my balance sheet. And therefore, my net income on my P&L and balance sheet is always correct to the day. It takes my bookkeeper maybe 10 minutes a day to do this. Then they do a few other things for me, but it's very inexpensive. I hope this helps, and you guys should have a good time now doing your Amazon bookkeeping. Take care.